Hello, I'm Jay, owner of Volunteer Audio in Oliver Springs, Tennessee, and I want to make a little video doing an update on the HDHU.14Si. We've had this radio for a while now. This is about 4 months now, and I want to go over all the different things we've learned about this radio so you'll have a better experience using it in your Harley Davidson motorcycle. All right, so I want to talk for a few minutes with this radio. We're going to go to a bike in a minute. I'm going to show you how to change some settings on the radio to make it better when you're trying to get your bike serviced. But let's start by talking about some of the issues we ran into and the solutions we have to make this work better in your Harley. So first I want to say Soundstream Reserve has done a great job with this HDHU.14Si. It used the same internal EQ, amplifier, and all the software inside of it is the same that was in the HDHU.14 Plus, with the exception of the software to add Sirius XM and the ADS Maestro or Idatalink Maestro information in the back for the custom gauges and the custom thumb controls. So far, we have needed no updates for the radio. Soundstream did a phenomenal job, and there's been no need to update anything inside the radio. With that being said, this is ADS or Idatalink's first time with a mass run of radios that have hit the market that use their Harley firmware. So there have been many revisions to fix some kind of odd issues, and I'll kind of run through those with you real quick. First, if you bought this radio on the original pre-order, a lot of places did pre-orders on it. We were so excited to get it, we did it too. And the first software that left out from Idatalink did not turn on factory boom amplifiers. It took about a week and they launched a revision that fixed that. As well as they didn't really give us good information on something called the BIN EQ file that we had to pull from the factory radio. Now Volunteer Audio did a video on this. It's called How to Set Up Your HDHU.14Si for Boom Amplifiers. Now what I'm talking about only pertains to you if you have boom stage 1 factory amp or boom stage 2 factory amps. They could have been added on at the dealer or would have been in your CVO motorcycle. Now the great thing is once we got those amps working and we got the right files in, it sounds so much better than the stock radio on those amplifiers. Now we also know when this radio launched, the 21 and newer bikes did not have any gauge layouts. So the gauges did not work, the motorcycle info worked, the radio worked, but we had to wait a while on an update from Idatalink. The other problem is this radio launched right at January 1st. So it was the dead of winter in Canada where Idata is, and they did not have any bikes there to test and do some of the software revisions they needed, which slowed us down a little bit. The great thing is it is now April, it is becoming springtime, and they're working very quickly to fix any additional issues on their end. So Soundstream's done a great job making a radio. ADS is kind of learning some of the things they needed to revise after thousands and thousands of these have went out into the Harley world. So we have another small issue, and I'll show you on the bike here in just a minute how to take care of it. The Idatalink Maestro unit works like an OBD2 scan tool. So it reads the gauges just like a Harley technician would with their computer. Your Harley Davidson motorcycle does not want two tuners or two OBD2 readers connected at the same time. And they've built this very well. It normally takes over, meaning that it works on the radio, but it will block the Harley scan tool. Or maybe it blocks your add-on programmer that you want to update and tune your motor with. There is a solution for this. It's in the radio, and I wish ADS would have defaulted it on, but you can actually go into the Idatalink Maestro settings in the radio, and you can set a setting for the gauges that only uses the OBD2 function when you're viewing the gauges. Again, I'll go over that in a minute. I'll show you on the radio how to get to that menu and how to set it. So keep watching. This is going to be important because once that is set to enable on demand, which means it's only connected when the gauges are viewed, now when you take it into Harley for service, they have no problem connecting to your bike. They're not going to call you and tell you there's a problem and spend a lot of time trying to figure it out. Also, if you have a programmer and you're trying to update tunes to your engine, they're going to connect and they're going to work properly. Again, if you have a display that has gauges, such as something that came with your tuner, it's not going to be able to share those data lines at the same time that the radio is. So you're gonna have to probably remove that display, but you're gonna want to because these gauges look much better on this radio anyways. All right, so back to 21 and up bikes. Software revision 1.5 has been released, and it has given us most of the gauge functionality on the 21 and newer bikes. I would call it a beta software. Right now, vehicle speed such as mile per hour is not working. Idata is aware of this, and they're working on some updates. One of the other kind of strange things is Idatalink will not talk to the end consumer. They only want to deal with the authorized dealer or shop. So if you call them, I'm sorry, we can't control it, but they're pretty rude to you. So definitely, if you have a question about your Idatalink Maestro unit and you bought it from Volunteer Audio, call us at 1-844-30-AUDIO and we can answer those questions for you. We don't want somebody treating you rudely like they do if you call in directly. Now, if you bought it somewhere else, you need to reach out to the dealer you bought it from with those questions. But that backs us up to a few more things. So we need to enable gauges to use the OBD2 only on demand. That's a big deal for that service stuff. But when this came out, there were some preset thumb control layouts from Idatalink, and some of them just didn't make any sense. For instance, volume up was originally set to only work if you quick pressed it. So if you held it, it actually wouldn't turn the volume up. At Volunteer Audio, we recognized this pretty quickly, and we made it where volume up worked whether you quick pressed or you hold it. Now, when you hold that button for volume up, there's going to be a delay of probably a half second before it starts to turn the volume up. Then it does it very quickly, and as soon as you let off, it stops. There's no lag on the inside. It's just trying to figure out if you're quick pressing or if you're long pressing. There was another issue with track change on the very original units. And if you were to flash your radio today, you could mess this up. So that's why I'm going ahead and telling you about it now. You want to set the seek buttons to quick press and long press, seek forward and seek backwards. Those are not populated in the preset controls from Idatalink. So we want to mimic those factory buttons so when we press track forward, it quickly goes to the next track. This could be a little annoying if it wasn't set right. A simple reflash of the Maestro MRR will take care of that. A couple notes on that. We did a video previously on how to update your Maestro MRR. You will have to take that little brain box out of your bike and connect it to your computer. Follow our video. We did a really good job showing you step by step how to go through that process. Definitely look at all those thumb controls and select each one where it makes sense to you. The good news is that's all adjustable, all can be changed, so we can make it where it fits exactly how you want those controls to work. So if you decide to update your MRR and change your thumb control layout, which if it's not set up correctly, I would highly suggest doing that. It's going to make it a lot better when you're riding. Make sure you pull the serial number from the radio inside the settings menu. You can just go to the settings of the radio from the home screen. You can scroll down to the about part where you would do a software update, and right there it's going to give you your serial number. It's also available on the box. So there's a UPC code on your box. Right here is the serial number on the end of it. You'll need that. I don't want you to have to pull your radio out to get the serial number off the bottom of it. So while it's powered up, you can pull it out of the radio or you can pull it from the box. You'll need that before you can flash your MRR. Also, version 1.5 software. That's the latest software at the time I'm making this video. It does work for 21 and up. If you have a 14 to 20 model, it's going to try to get you to load in 1.5, which your gauges are not going to work properly with 1.5 in. So until they release another revision and they fix that, when you get to the point where it says we're going to flash it to 1.5, it says see all available firmwares, pick version 1.4. That's going to make your gauges work right on those 2014 to 2020 bikes. Now, there's another issue I want to address. Some 2014 model bikes have an issue with data clashing that's causing the security system to come on and the bike doesn't start. They've traced it down at Idata to something to do with the speedometer and the instrument cluster. They're working on a revision to fix that, but until then, this exact same process that I'm going to show you, where you enable your gauges to only connect to the OBD2 on demand, fixes the problem on those 14 models. I'll go through the process. I have had a few times on bikes that when we selected this, it didn't select it the first time. So if you try this process and it doesn't fix it, just go back in there, do it again. You should have a confirmation screen come up that says, are you sure you want to make this change? And you have to press OK. If you don't do that, it doesn't actually make the change in the radio. So quick recap, the radio has been awesome. We're not having failures, we're not having issues. The reason I'm talking to you about the thumb controls is I know I can make your radio where you're a lot happier with it. And at Volunteer Audio, if you order a new one today, it's already going to come pre-flashed as we've talked with all this proper thumb control layout already in the radio. There are no software updates at all for the HDHU.14Si. Do not attempt to update it. If you load the HDHU.14 Plus software in it, it's gonna mess the radio up. So our advice is, under no circumstance do you update this radio. If you were to need an update in the future, you need to return to an authorized dealer or reach out to us and we'll send it to you on a USB drive. But there are no updates right now. Do not search for them on the internet. Do not mess your radio up. So, thumb controls, there's better layouts than there originally were. There have been many revisions to the Maestro. Now we're on 1.4 for the 14 to 20s or 1.5 on your 21 and newers. We expect more to come. There's little finicky things like the fuel economy isn't working right currently in the background. They're going to take care of these things as we have more bikes to test. So let's talk about one other thing. Some people have called us, this works on all Soundstream radios and pretty much is a rule of thumb on all electronics. If your bike, while cranking, drops below 10 volts, it basically puts the radio in a protect mode and you don't have sound. It may make the screen do something funky. That's because you have a low or bad battery. If you've charged your battery and it goes below 10 volts, you need a battery. So it is a computer and that is the threshold is 10 volts. If it drops below that, it's going to do some weird things. It may even restart, make you put in a new date, time, or your location like it's a fresh install. The BIN number was very, very important for the guys with the boom audio systems. If you disconnect your battery, that BIN code is going to be removed from the radio, so you need to keep up with that information and put the right number back in if you ever have to do a full factory reset or a battery replacement on your bike. It's very easy to put in. We went over that in our boom audio video. All right, so let's go over to the bike. I want to bring up this screen and show you exactly how to turn off the OBD2 communication where it's only enabled when you view your gauges. No matter what bike you have, no matter what you think, you need to do this, and hopefully eventually Idatalink will have it preset this way. So let me show you on the radio exactly how to do that. All right, so I've got a 14 model Electric Glide Police that I'm showing you this on, and what I've done is I've hit the info button, just quick pressed it, I brought up the motorcycle info screen. If we press the 3 dots in the upper right corner, it's going to bring up our Maestro Features screen. If I hit Maestro Features, I'm going to see here it says Gauges. I want you to click Gauges. Then I want you to go down to OBD2 communication. So this is where the radio is connected to the data lines on the computer. This is where you may have issues clashing if you were trying to do service work, dyno tuning, uploading tunes from a programmer, and so on. I do want to take a second to tell you, if you have a aftermarket ECM, such as a Thundermax, the gauges do not work. It is not working yet. I don't know that there'll ever be an update for it to work, so I don't want to mislead you. I don't know that it will ever work, and it definitely doesn't work now. Factory, it's going to come on as always enabled, which means that always the computer is tied to the radio. And you'll see a security light just came up on the instrument cluster of this Harley, and right now it most likely wouldn't start. If I go to Enable on Demand, it's going to pop up and say OBD communication happens on demand. Fuel economy values are updated only when gauges are being viewed. If I hit OK, you see that red light immediately went out. Our data clash with our instrument cluster is now gone, and our bike works just as it should. And anytime I view those gauges, the gauges still work. You'll see the little red light come on, but as soon as I leave and I go to any other source, you'll see that light immediately goes out. Now, the issue was it wouldn't let these bikes start. So once my bike has started, I can view gauges, they all work. There is no ill effect to the bike, and anytime that I'm on there, that little red light comes on, but it goes right back out. So this was important for those no start issues on the 14 models, but it also solved the issue where we couldn't do those service connections at the dealership, or also the ability to update our tunes. So I'm going to back up and I'm going to show you one more thing. Let's go to our alerts. Same 3 dots in the top corner, go to Maestro Features and go to Alerts. This is where we can set things like low fuel, battery voltage, check engine alert. Oil pressure alerts can also be adjusted here. So some of the bikes have an oil pressure sensor that is monitored, and when it's being monitored, some of them were actually set up where the oil pressure was way too low. It would say it was too low, but it'd throw up an alert, and it was false. You can go in here and you can actually change those alerts, and you can make it where the PSI is lower. The new software revisions from Idata presets that to 5 PSI. Originally it was set at 20 PSI, so on a hot motor you'd get a false alert. All these issues, I want you to remember, are in the Maestro module, not the radio. All of them have been worked on. Most of them have already been fixed, and there are a few more revisions that will probably come out later from them to make this even better. So I hope this has helped you. Hope it's answered a lot of problems. We've had some people tell us they've removed the radio fuse while doing service work. That is not required as long as you go into this, go to gauges, and change what we just showed you on this OBD2 communication part. So the radio's been awesome. It sounds great. We use it almost every day here at Volunteer Audio. We're putting it in bike after bike. The customers absolutely love it. So I don't want this to scare you off. I just want to let you know, if you already own a bike and you've had any of these problems I've talked about, there are solutions, and here are what they are. All right, so thank you so much for watching this video. I hope we've answered a lot of questions and made your Soundstream Reserve HDHU.14Si more enjoyable to have in your motorcycle. It's a great radio, and we have been so happy to continually install it and see our customers' reactions as they get to use it. Please like this video. The more you like it, the more it moves us up in YouTube standings. More people get to see our content, and we appreciate it when you do that. Please subscribe to the channel to see the latest in Harley audio. And even after you've bought it and put it in your bike, you'll learn how to use it and make it work even better for you. Thank you so much for watching Volunteer Audio. Please check out our website at volunteeraudio.com for all your Harley audio needs. And if you want to call us, we'd love to talk to you about your system, design a better one, or answer your questions at 1-844-30-AUDIO. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, God bless.